Welcome back to the Haddonfield Horrors podcast. We review horror movies and horror franchises. I'm Mark,
I'm Tawan.
I'm Elian.
and today we have gathered together because we have finished the Purge franchise, and we've come back together to give our rankings. As always, we'll be ranking from worst to best, starting off with Juan. What do you have coming in at number 5?
I have the first Purge, not the first Purge, coming at number 5. I think this one, after you give it a rewatch, because this was like my first time coming back to that movie since I saw it in theaters. When I saw it in theaters, I really didn't think much of it. And then now that I rewatched it again, I'm still not thinking much of it, and now I think a little even worse about it. It wasn't like the worst movie or any type of thing I've seen. It was just like not really good as a Purge movie. In concept, it kind of like it definitely works, but now, well, I don't think the show is on anymore. But ever since they made the show, I feel like this probably would have been better as like a season of the show, like showing how the conception of the like whole thing from the beginning came about. Even like going back to the NFFA, like them getting elected, and then it coming out, and then going into the first Purge. I feel like that would have been better maybe as a season of the TV show instead of like it being a movie the way it was presented for us. Because I didn't really like it. I don't think the cast was that really good besides Yolan Noel, who was Daniel in Insecure. He was good here, but yeah, everything else just didn't really sit well. And the third act was kind of like the best part of the movie when he was running up through the building, like shooting shit up. But outside of that, pretty forgettable, and cast was a bit boring or annoying.
Elian, what's in your 5th spot?
I'm actually gonna have to agree with Twan on this one, but the reason why I'm putting this one on my fifth spot is just because I honestly I remember watching this one. It's just not memorable. I understand it's it's obviously giving us a background of the purge and how it started and basically how everything was basic. What was I gonna say? It was basically just the government doing it in order to start it. Like they were the ones that were purging first, basically. I don't remember much of this film, honestly. That's why I'm putting it in my fifth spot, to be fair.
Well, for me, I'm gonna go against the grain, and in my 5th spot, I have the very first Purge movie because it's a letdown. Like it introduces this great concept of the Purge, but then it gives us a basic home invasion movie. Like I didn't get the point of that. Like you give me this great concept of this is a night where all crime is legal, even murder. But then you have me trapped in a house, fighting for my life the entire time. Like that was boring. That was basic. Like this is what we doing. Y'all couldn't figure out how to do this. So for me, that's gonna be in my 5th spot. Now, in my 4th spot goes the first Purge because I got what they were going for, and I agree with you, Tuan, that it should have been a season of the TV show. And given that the first season of the Purge TV show it was either the second or third or maybe even the fourth Purge that ever happened. So we kind of got that, and and even better, we were actually at a party that was being thrown by the new founding fathers. So it's like the concept could have been done better in TV format because the movie was just not working. And Skeletor was over the top. They were beating us over the head with all the political commentary. The first Purge just wasn't for me. But what about you, Tuan? What's in your 4th spot?
I believe my fourth spot would have to go to the first Purge movie, the actual first one that released in theatrical order. um, just called The Purge. But I think that one would have to go my number 4 spot. Yeah, like it started us up, but it was not the driving force that kept us going. Cause it was pretty boring when like I love a good home invasion movie like Panic Room or something like a good home invasion movie it hits it eats, but this one was not really giving. And then during the concept that it was in of like anything that could happen, it's the purge, like it was the wrong presentation, I guess you could say, a bit, in the sense if they're like locked up in their big ass mansion and we're supposed to be afraid of. But I knew we do get more with the boyfriend of the daughter, and then like the guy who they let into the house too. So there was a little more to it than just the people outside. But I don't know, I feel like it would have been better situated if this didn't take place in like this really nice suburb, if it was maybe like in an apartment complex or something. I don't know. I just feel like it could have been put somewhere else and it would have hit a little bit more. But, we got what we got, and it worked to get us off the ground for where we are.
Elion, what's in your fourth spot?
Actually, it's the same one as Twan. It's The Purge, the first Purge film. For me, just like what you, Mark, and Twan has said, it's basically a home invasion film, honestly. Um, what I why I put this one instead of my fifth one was just because, like, unlike the other ones, we kind of never really had a good connection with the characters, to be fair. Like, we kind of were just introduced to the characters and then everything happened. And then, like, with the other ones that I have on top, I have connection with these characters. Like, I can understand them and I can relate to them in a sense of way. But with this one, it just felt like just rich people hiding from the purge. They get invaded, and that's it. That's all I could say, to be fair.
Juan, what's in your third spot?
Mm, I think third spot for me might have to be Purge election year. I feel as though, first hearing the concept of it, um, being that this purge is different because it takes clearances off of everybody and anybody can get it throughout this one. It was like, okay, sounds pretty good, but they really don't do anything with that. Like, um, they don't really use that concept to its fullest, and it really just feels like it really ends up just feeling like the Purge Anarchy Part Two. Um, with especially because we have Leo as our main character, and then they do a big ass time jump that's not really a time jump because nobody has aged in like 20 some years in that time jump, so it doesn't make sense. Um, but the story of it is good. How we have someone that's wanting to get rid of the purge itself, and they're trying to make sure that she stays alive because they don't want to not have the people don't want to not have that option of Charlie Roan being the next president, but they were also not trying to like take out the person on the NFFA side so that they wouldn't couldn't be like a martyr for the situation as well. So they were definitely like playing that section of it up a good amount. But yeah, I think it was pretty good. It definitely had some memorable moments in there. That scene in the church, our girl with the chocolate bar, uh, the scene we had at the ending, like the big fight with Leo and the other guy who was like one of the big soldiers that was kind of chasing him throughout the movie. So it definitely has some good moments in it, and also it gave us the concept of tourists who were visiting the U.S. during the purge. That's crazy shit.
Elion, what's in your third spot?
Mine would have to be the Forever Purge, just because like it's still brand new, and then like I guess I could just say I could relate to it just being obviously it's kind of like directed mainly to like Latino or like a Latin community.
Well, for me, in my third spot, I have. Well, I also have the Forever Purge, mostly because. Oh wait, no, that's not right. Oh yeah, okay. I also have the Forever Purge. I like that it feels different. I like that it's in the day. I like that we have a different perspective. It's just I for me, I get lost on what were those 8 years like without the purge. And if we can't, you can't tell me that there was any improvement or that the country then did a complete flip and it got worse. And then I don't understand how they won and got the purge back. And I don't know, that's just kind of distracting for me a tad bit. And then the whole Tucker family subplot I could have done without. Like if we would just focused on Juan and Adela and I don't know, the sister who loved her some Hispanic men. Even okay, I didn't need the Tucker boy and his girl. Like that was completely unnecessary. It was a distraction for me. And then going into my second spot as Purge election year. Uh, I was kind of going back and forth for putting this at number one, but the part that stop it from being number one and only being number two is that the whole idea of the new founding fathers being the political party and not being the actual new founding fathers, like that concept keeps it from being number one because that's stupid. It makes no sense. But what keeps it at a solid number two is that every scene they were in, I needed Leo and Charlie to start fucking. 'Cause they had so much sexual chemistry for no reason. And I, I was just like, wait, are they going? Is it gonna? Is it gonna? Because me and Tawan just kept on saying in the review, like they were definitely just like feeling each other the entire time, and I don't know, that saved it for me. But also, we get to see Leo's character arc. We saw him in the first in Anarchy, ready to kill the guy who killed his kid, and now we see him in election year, and he's on a whole different path, whole different mission. He's now trying to protect the candidate who wants to end the purge. And yeah, I agree with Tuan. That whole time jump is ridiculous because it's supposed to be what 10, 15, 20 years later, and he looks the same. But we get past that. Tuan, what's in your second spot?
My second spot will be going to the Forever Purge. And I've like kind of thought about it. I really did like that one a lot, and I felt like how I like differences in it. Um, Looks wise, it was the most different looking out of the ones that we had, and it definitely broke up like the other ones just shrouded at nighttime, which I mean makes sense because the purge starts at night, so it only makes sense for this one to have a little bit more going on during the day because of the fact that the purge never ended, so they have a lot more to explore with that. Um, it also did have its faults, as we mentioned in our review. The like son who was racist, but towards the end of the movie, kind of like pretty much wasn't anymore. That whole part was a little whack. It felt very like cookie cutter, but I really liked Juan and Adela's relationship in the movie, and really just this one showing how it could go to shit so quickly because they wanted to put the purge back in after Charlie Rome's win in election year. So yeah, I think the Forever Purge is my second.
Elian, what about you?
For my second one, I wanted to say it's Purge election year. I really just enjoyed it because it kind of just shows like a unity. To be fair, like we're kind of like giving it a mixed feeling of like the upper class and the lower class, and then they're both trying to help each other out in order to stop this, and it just sends out a message. At the end, we will always fight for what we think is right, and what I will say, another thing that I wanted to add on to this was I want to say it really gives off a big detail or like a big message, especially when this film was taking place and during the situation that we were going through, that you could apply it to real like a real scenario, like obviously Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, even now. I'm not trying to get into the. I'm not going to go into like political, but I'm just saying like it kind of gives off when this film was set, it was just more realistic, if you know what I mean.
Well, we have come to our last spot. Elian, what's in your very first spot?
Mine is Purge Anarchy. Uh, Out of all the films, the reason why I put this one in my top one is like it honestly really delved into my emotional state, like especially like we find out like one of the main characters, they lost their child and he basically wanted to get revenge for his child, and then it just broke my heart seeing like this mom and her daughter basically being a target to these people just because they're nothing but a number, a statistic, and then they're just pleading and you just feel that pain. Like they did, like the actors themselves did such a good job to make me like really connect with them. On top of that, making me it just gave me so much anger. Like it really let out like it really let me express my anger, to be fair. Like the injustice of it all.
I get that. And for me, Purge Anarchy is also in my number one spot. Because going back to the movie I placed in my fifth spot, that very first Purge movie, you can't introduce this cool, crazy concept and then trap me in a house for over 90 minutes. Like I want to see what's happening in the world on Purge night. And Purge Anarchy does that. It takes us out of a claustrophobic house and it puts us on the street. And now we're getting to see literally characters are just driving and we're seeing people get shot and kidnapped and assaulted. We're seeing all types of weird shit going on. And I enjoyed it. I'm like, okay, this is what I wanted to see from that first one. I wanted to see the Purge on the streets, and I think we had a great character arc from Leo, who was very set and determined to get the purge to get the guy who killed his kid, and then we see him get that chance at the end of the movie, but then walk away like that. That was powerful. That was amazing. All I mean, but also I feel like of that movie, he was the only one who really got an arc. Leo carried that movie. Like Frank Grillo, he isn't some great thespian, but he carried that movie on his back, and it is iconic because of him. Because that married couple was annoying. That lady's kid was annoying. I could have done without her. Also, it gave me my favorite scene of the entire Purge franchise when that girl shot her sister because she was valid. Shoot that bitch again. Like I don't. But I digress. Juan, what's in your number one spot? Why don't you tell us why Purge Anarchy is also in your number one?
No, my favorite Purge movie is The Purge 6.
The hell did that
No, it's The Purge Anarchy. I mean, come on, it's like it is the best one. Like I don't know that one. You know, it gave us what we wanted from this series in a sense. Um, I liked having Leo as kind of our main character in this, even though it didn't start off that way, but he kind of like took over from the other parties that were surrounding, and really, as I said in our review, was like the only one that kind of had an arc in the movie because he was trying to kill the guy who killed his child, so he wanted to get revenge during the purge, and he just so happened to get caught up in the situation and like saving these other people who were like outside with them. Um, we get some of the like purge resistant group in here. We see the stranger from the first movie in here who also makes an appearance in election year. I think this is a pretty like well-rounded sequel and kind of brings out what the Purge the Purge was, and it also set up like some good iconography for the Purge. Like after this one, like the other two movies, they used like kind of neon colors and stuff at night, the mask, and like people kind of treating it like Halloween, but they can actually do some evil shit. Um, so yeah, the Purge Anarchy is my number one for the Purge movies.
Whoa, and there we have it. Our ranking for the Purge franchise. Of course, we will revisit our ranking whenever the Purge 6 comes out. We are watching and waiting for that to be released. So we'll be doing this again. But we have something new and exciting coming next week. An idea that Tuan actually brought to us. Tuan, tell us what we're doing next week.
So next week, we will be each picking a movie, but the movie will have to be a horror themed or horror adjacent from the Disney original movies. So think your Halloween Town, Twitches, all of those movies are up for grabs. We're all going to pick one and review them. In addition to that, we're also going to be adding a little bit of extra before the reviews. Kind of discussing just general horror movie news and things that happen in the movie industry or just Hollywood in general that week as it pertains to like horror, just to give you guys a little bit extra information while watching us or listening.
Tuan will be kicking us off. What Disney horror movie will we be reviewing next week?
I decided to go with Phantom of the Megaplex. Not like whenever I think of a Disney Channel original movie, like the horror ones, I always think of this one or Don't Look Under the Bed. But I don't know why I remember liking Phantom of the Megaplex so much. So I'm going to be picking that one for us.
I'm older than both of my co-hosts, so I remember the Disney Channel promotional campaign for
Prehistoric.
Phantom of the Megaplex. I
Damn!
remember watching it. You know what? Fuck both of you. I remember watching the live premiere of Phantom
Girl,
of
I
the
probably was
Megaplex.
watching it too. It was only 2000.
But I remember
I
watching this
was months
movie.
old.
I remember watching this movie and being like, why is the kid from Idle Hand on a Disney movie? Because for some reason I thought that blonde white boy was Devin
You thought
Sawa.
that was Devin Sawa.
When you
Goodbye.
when you look at pictures, because I was gathering all of the promotional photos, and I was like, you know what? I don't blame young me because the spiky blonde hair and the pale face, it's given Devin Sawa. So, but I'm excited for that. That should be fun. Now, before anyone says it, technically Disney does have an actual horror movie through one of its like subsidiary production studios. But Tuan and I have already reviewed that movie, and that's Staying Alive. So there is a Disney horror movie out there, but we've already covered it. So we're going down the Disney Channel rabbit hole, and I'm excited. But that's all for next week. Until then, good night.
If you like this episode, please be sure to check out some from the Haddonfield Horror Cemetery, where we've covered big franchises such as Friday the 13th, Halloween, and Saw, or one-off reviews like The Blackening or Hereditary. You can follow Haddonfield Horrors on Instagram and TikTok, where the host posts updates and mini reviews. Full episodes are available on several podcasting platforms, including Spotify, as well as YouTube. If you're listening to us on YouTube, please be sure to like and subscribe. The Haddonfield Horrors podcast is produced by Mark Smart, Tawan Griffin, and Elian Cordova, themed by Lethal Injection, and edited by Mark Smart.
The Haddonfield Horror Podcast is a letter to media production.
Should we do an intro?